Hello everyone. Today's poem is Xiaoya gan, a Xiaoya poem from the Book of Songs. Today is the last day I'm staying in mainland China, and tomorrow I will go through the Hong Kong-Macau-Zhuhai Bridge to go to Hong Kong, to go back to Hong Kong. Actually, I'm so reluctant to go to Hong Kong because in mainland I feel such a freedom that you can enjoy so many food, you can go a lot of places, and the most important, the safety you feel. As far as you wear a mask when you go to some of the places indoors, or go when you use the public transportations, and in the open space you feel so much freedom, not like in Hong Kong you wear the mask all the time, and they're always crowded, and there's always indoors in Hong Kong. So that's a big difference. There's no much places you can go. If there's a place, an open field, I can guarantee you during this period of time is always full of people. Looks like nobody wants to work from the morning till the night. In the countryside, on the hiking tracks, and the beaches, there's always full of people. So there's no place you can go in Hong Kong.
Okay, let's get back to the poem now. The title, 斯干, means this small river, this valley, by the traditional explanations. But I don't buy in this explanation. The character 干 means the main part, the main body of something. So if it refers to a river, it refers to the mainstream of that river, not branch rivers. If it refers to a person, it means the body, the main body, not the legs, not the arms. So that's the meanings of the character 干 means. And here, from the whole poem, I would rather say the character 干 here means the main body. So what is the main body in this poem? It could be two things. The river of Wei, which is the mainstream in this area. So there's, even today we call it, there's 8 rivers in this area, but the 7 rivers join to the Wei River, and the Wei River is just like the mainstream river in the middle. And finally, the Wei River joined the Yellow River. So this could be one of the possibilities. The other possibility is very likely refers to the South Mountain, the huge mountain across the whole region. And today we know it's roughly a huge mountain series extending east-west more than 1,000 kilometers. So that's a huge mountain. And this again could refer to the main part of the South Mountains. So that could be the other possibility. This narrative poem tells us the story that the Zhou people, they built a new town, or maybe a new capital. And after the new town was built, the Lord has a very lucky dream when he slept in the family's temple for the first night. And then it gave us some of the descriptions how the Zhou people celebrate the new babies. So in general speaking, it's not a very concrete story. It just gave us several pieces of this story, and this is also a very, very typical writings in the Book of Songs. They just pick some of the very typical and significant moments and write about that. And you had to fill a lot of the background stories in between and make it a whole story. The poem Daya Endless is a very similar poem, which is more of an epic poem, is of a full story. It recalls the very early history of the Zhou people. They relocate, they build new towns, and based that new towns, they grows, and finally they destroy the previous dynasty, and they became the kings of the country. So you can find quite a lot of similarities and wordings between these two poems. The first paragraph, 秩秩斯干，悠悠南山. The main part of South Mountain, it lines up neatly. It's so dark and quiet. 如竹苞矣，如松茂矣. Some of the mountains, it looks like the bamboo shoots. Some of it looks like the pine tree. 兄及弟矣，式相好矣，无相犹矣. The elder brothers and the junior brothers, you should follow the code of conduct to do good to each other and don't violate, don't against each other. Let's review the first paragraph as a whole. It's starting with the writing technique, 星, which is about writing the scenic views, the South Mountain, the huge magic and very richful South Mountain. This is a place where we live around. And then it goes to the subject, the junior brothers and the elder brothers. You should, per the code of conduct, you should make good, do good to each other. So that's the core values of the Zhou people. We have seen this in so many poems. And basically that's the first paragraph about. The second paragraph basically is about how they build this new town, this new city. And from other poems and histories, we know there's a lot of things was neglected in this poem. So the normal process for the Zhou people to build a new town, the first thing first is planning. So they will go around this area. They plan to build the city. They will go up and go to the lower places and look around. If it's okay, then they will do the things, 占卜, to make a prediction. If this place is a lucky place or it's not, it's an unlucky place. If the result is positive, then they will go to the process to build this new town, to go to the second paragraph in this poem. 四序鼻祖，注释白读，西南其户. We inherit from our female ancestors. We made rooms with 100 walls, and we made our main gate at the direction of southwest. 原居原处，原校原语. So at this place we will live here. At this place we will have our rest here. At this place we laugh at this place we talk each other, we chat with each other. 四 is a long word which means inherent. 续 means continuous, and 彼 means the female ancestors. So here it's a little bit weird. They built this new city by the way or continue the way of their ancestors, but he only mentioned the female ancestors. So normally they will mention both the male ancestors and female ancestors, which was so-called 考比. But here it only mentioned the female ancestors, quite strange here. And the 读 is a very delicate term. It means roughly a wall with 3 meters wide and 3 meters high. So you can see there's a bunch of words to make hundreds of walls. With such many walls has been built, you can imagine a lot of houses has been built already. And the last 2 pair of sentences actually describe the atmosphere. So people feel so happy, and this is a lucky place. Basically, this is part of the reflections of the stories that not mentioned, because they have done a very detailed survey planning, and they also make predictions toward this new city, and everything should be very fortunate and lucky. And that's why when the people they are building their new houses, they are lightened by both things. The signs showed by the heaven, by the God, that this place is a lucky place, is a fortunate place for your people. And the second, by the new houses built. It's just like today's people. Whenever you bought a new house, or you're trying to you're about to marry with a man, with a woman, of course, it's of immense happiness and joy. Okay, let's continue. 约之格格，濯之沱沱. So I ramp up the wood board. It makes the sound 格格. And I punch on the soils. It have the sound of 沱沱. So this sentence actually is describing the sound when they build the walls. So this is a technique so-called 板柱. It's a very, very traditional techniques when building the walls in this area, almost along the Yellow River. And I have even seen this in Xi'an city when I was a kid. But I believe these techniques were still employed in some of the rural areas. So this technique is a technique at least have 3,000 years, we know. It's actually, it used the wood board to build a wall-like models with the center is empty. It's surrounded by the wood board, and then you need to use the rope to tie up the board, and then you fill the soils, the yellow soils, into the model, and you punch on the soil very, very hard and many times, and finally the soil became so hard like stones. And this is also used technique. It's also used to build the foundations of huge palaces. So if you have the chance to visit Xi'an city, try to go find your time to go visit the relics place of the Qin Palace, the Han Palace, and the Tang Palace. The foundations are still there. The foundations of those palaces were built with this technology, with this technique. And the background picture is the relic, the foundation relics of the Han Royal Palace, Weiyang. The height is still roughly 20 meters high. You can feel how solid it is. 风雨忧除，鸟鼠忧去，君子忧于. By this building, by this new town, we get rid of the wind and rains, and we also get rid of the birds and rats, and this is a place the Lord stays. 忧 means 所 in Chinese. It's hard to translate to English, but you just feel the paragraph. So this part of the second paragraph actually gave us a very vivid pictures by sound, 格格, to tie up the rope on the wood board, and 坨坨, which means you punch on the soils, give us a very, very vivid picture. If you have the experience in your lifetime, like me, when I was a kid, I saw this. It's such a vivid and pictures reflected in my brain at once. And also, in the second half, it tells us why we built this new city. This new town is our safety place, and those houses will be the place the Lord lives. Okay, let's continue. 如其思义，如是思己. Like the winds lifted, like the songs was pointing out like arrows. 如鸟思格，如灰思飞. Like the skins of the birds, like the feathers of the birds, like the wild birds was flying. 君子忧饥. The Lord was ascending to it. So here actually is a very, very weird descriptions what it is talking about. But if we have reference to other poems, it's a very, very clear answer for the Zhou people, even for anyone who had read some of the poems of the Book of Songs. It's talking about the most important buildings in a town, in a capital, the family's temple. So it's have so many utilities for this most big buildings in the town. It serves as the city hall. It serves as a dining room. If the kings, the lords hold big parties, it serves as the arsenals. So the weapons was locked down in this place. Whenever there is a war, they will summon people to come to the family's temple, and they will allocate the weapons to everybody. And it also serves as the guest house of the state. So if the state or the country has a very important guest, they will let their guest to sleep in this family's temples. Of course, the family temples is not just with one room. It definitely has many rooms, but it's very probably like the Tiananmen, or it's like the royal palace. It has a big roof like the wings of the bird, and the roof is colorful like the colorful wild bird of Hui, and it's covered with the shells. It's just like the feather of the bird. The edge of the roof looks like the thong, and it's so dynamic, just like the thong will be shot out like an arrow. The building styles or the palace styles most probably never changed through the Chinese history. And so all these terms they can apply to the royal palace in Beijing today. And we can imagine in roughly 3,000 years ago, when the Zhou people, they built a big family's temples like the royal palace, and it has the huge cover like the winds. It has shining, it has so many colors on the roof, and this is the Lord. He stays, and this is a Lord. He announced his policies. He holds his national meetings, state meetings. He has his he treats his guests here. So 幽寂. So that means when the family's temple, once the family's temple is built, the first thing first, the Lord go up and to have a visit, to explore this new family's temple. He ascend to this family's temple. So the next paragraph is quite naturally is about the family's temples. When the Lord ascend to the family's temple, 直直其庭，有绝其营. So the court, first thing first, he went into the court of the family's temple, not into the rooms. And the court is quite flat and in a square. 直直 means it's quite flat. 有绝其营. So it's you noticed the pillars, the very big, huge pillars of that family's temples. So this is the first things first. The Lord sing when he ascend to the family's temple. 槐槐其正，蕙蕙其明. The main room in the center is so bright, and the inner closet is a little bit dark. So Ming very likely is the place for the ancestors' panels. So it's very likely in the inner part of the big room, big building, and it's dark. And the main room should be the place to hold dinners, to have meetings. So in this poem, it describes this place. It's very, very bright place. Okay, the last sentence. 君子幽宁. So this is the place that the Lord feels safe and calm. 宁 means feel peaceful. The inner mind feels peaceful. Now let's get to the second part of this poem. The first part tells us they built a new town, a new family's temple, and the Lord ascend to the family's temple, has his first visit and inspection of this new building. And the new building, the family's temple, looks glorious, great, and it's shining. And then in the second paragraph, the Lord had his first stay in the family's temple in the night. Let's look at how it is. 下官上殿，乃安私请. At the bottom is the dry grass. On the surface above is the sheet, and upon it the Lord slept in this bedroom. 乃寝乃兴乃战我梦. At this place, the Lord sleep the whole night, and in the morning he wake up, and he asked to predict the dream he had in the night. So what is about this fortunate dream? It's about the bear. It's about snake. Okay, let's get to the words. First thing first, this pair of sentence talks about the Lord has his first day, his first night in this temple. So we have told the family temple serves for many purposes, and normally I do believe the Lord don't sleep here, but because it's a new town, it's a new built family temple. After it finished, the Lord spent his first night in this temple in the bedroom, which is part of the family temple. Qing means the room in the family temple, which served as a bedroom. And quite often you also see the term 庙寝. So it was paralleled and together. 庙, the family's temple, 寝, the bedroom in the family's temple. So it actually refers to the same thing, the family's temple. So whenever you saw 庙寝, it refers to the family's temple, but it has a focus on the bedrooms within that family temple. And so it's, as far as you know this, it's quite easy to understand. The Lord stayed in this family's temple and he had a dream. And then when he wake up, he asked to have the try to decipher his dream. Is a good dream or is a bad dream? It's the sign for fortune, for luck, or it's a sign for some of the bad things. So that's the normal practice for Zhou people. 雄气, it both refers to bear, but 气 normally refers to a bigger kind of bear. 灰 is kind of snake, very probably the poisonous viper snake, and a much bigger snake. And 蛇 is a general term for snake. So in his dream, he dreamed about the bears, big and small bears, and snakes, big and small snakes. Okay, let's continue. 大人战之，为雄为气，男子之祥。大人, the elder guy, the senior guy, normally there's a very dedicated person to do this kind of job, to decipher the dreams, to make the predictions. So this is kind of people is very key role, serves a very key role in the time of the Zhou dynasty. So he tried to decipher it, 战之, decipher it. The bears you dream about, it implies it's good for the male persons, for the men's. 为灰为蛇, the dreams you dreams about the snakes, the big snakes, small snakes, the poisonous snakes. 女子之祥 is the lucky sign for the female, for the women's. So finally, it turns out no matter it's bears and the snakes, it's a very, very good sign. So what does a good sign mean for the Zhou people? First thing first, safe. they have their safety. They keep safe to live a very safe life. The second thing, the family is very prosperous. They will have a lot of the descendants, have a lot of the kids. So basically, that's the two things for the Zhou people, the luckiness. They have enough food, they lead a very peace and safe life, and then they have as much as possible kids. So the next things, the poems go to the kids. 乃生男子，载寝之床，载衣之裳，载弄之章。If a boy was born, let's put him on the bed. Let's put clothes on him. Let's give him jade to play with. And I have a little argument about 乃. So normally it was explained as if a boy was given birth, if a boy was born. But this character actually appears many times in this poem, and in other places this character was interpreted as finally or then, after that. So I don't think we should interpret this character with two meanings in one poem. So if with that meanings, finally, then, 乃生男子 means, and sometimes later, finally, the boy was born, and then we put this boy on the bed, we put clothes on him, we gave jade for him to play with. So that's actually tell us this poem is about a long time span. Actually, it writes a period across a long time spans. It's starting from when they built this new town, and it could take weeks, months, and when this new town was finished, it depicts the several days, the very moment that the Lord ascended to the family's temple, and he slept his first night in the family's temple. He had a dream, and many days, many months later, 1 year, 2 years later, a lot of boys, a lot of girls was given birth, was born. And then in the last part of this poem, he writes about those boys and girls. 其气煌煌，诸废丝黄，世家君王. This boy was crying so out loud, and he put on the red fei, and it's shining, and he would take charge of this family, and he would be the Lord to rule the country. So here is a very, very key paragraph that we have discussed, that this story lasts for quite a long time after the new city was built, and many boys was born. But this poem only is dedicated, or only tells the kids of the Lord, because 朱费 we have seen this many times in the poems of the Book of Songs. It's a piece of leather put on the upper leg and stomach, in front of the stomach. The color of red is only dedicated for the state lord or the king of Zhou. So here we know it's quite clear. It only, where this boy only refers to the son, the little boy of that lord. And the last sentence tells much more clearly, very clearly, 世家君王. He would he would in charge of this family, and he would ruling the country. So who it is? The prince, right? He's a prince. So the next paragraph is about a girl, and it didn't mention if this girl is a princess or not, but very natural thinking, she should be a princess. Okay, let's see the difference between a little male baby and a female baby. 乃生女子，在寝之地，在衣之屉，在弄之瓦。And finally, someday, a girl was born, a princess was born, and let's put her on the ground, and let's wrap her with a carpet, with a quilt, and let's give her a piece of brick to play with. So you can see the difference. The boy was on the bed and the girl was on the ground, and the girl has a very decent clothes, even he is a baby, and the girl was wrapped up by a piece of carpet, a quilt, and the boy has a piece of jade to play with, and the girl has a piece of brick. So that's the difference between a boy and a girl. So finally, 弄璋 becomes an alternative term, which means a new boy baby, and 弄娃 means a new girl baby. So that's when you see want to say congratulations who has a new baby. So you can see if that guy has a boy baby, you can see 弄璋之喜. If he has a girl baby, you can see 弄娃之喜. So it's a difference. Okay, the last sentence. 无非无疑，唯酒食是义，无父母之力. So it's still with this girl baby. I wish her don't violate the code of conduct. I wish her don't gossip all the time, and let's just follow the code of conduct of dining, big party. So it's about how to celebrate to this new girl baby. So the celebration is just about dining. 无父母一力, and don't bring the bad luck to her father and mother. So you can see the difference is so big between a prince and a princess. For the little boy, he cries out loud. So it's positive. He's capable. And for the girls and the parents and maybe the relatives around, they think, okay, don't make it too hard. Be quiet. You should not violate so many rules. You should not violate. You should not gossip too much, or you should not shout, cry out loud. And the boys, he was given the gift, or he wears a piece of leather, which means he's the most noble person as a king or as a lord of the state. But the girl was only celebrated with a party, with drinking and dining. Of course, there's a grand party for the boy as well, but They just even don't mention it because he's the king, he has everything, or he's a prince, he has everything. And finally, he will rule this big family. He will rule the state, or he will rule the country of Zhou. 世家君王. So that's for a prince. And for the girl, you will be married to another country. And I wish you don't bring the bad luck to your parents, to your motherland. So there's a huge difference between a boy baby and a girl baby, or between a prince, a small prince, a small princess. For some of the special characters in this poem, most confusing character is 夷, 无非无夷. So normally this character means the code of conduct, the regulations, just like the next sentence, 为酒食, 适宜. So let's follow the conduct. Just let's do a big party and let's serve the food and wines to celebrate this new girl baby. So that is the meaning of this character 夷. But in 无非无夷, it's really hard to explain. 无夷 means don't follow the code of conduct, don't follow the regulations. So that's not the way the Zhou people behaves. So the Zhou people always try to obey the codes, or try to educate others to obey the codes of conduct, to obey the regulations. So the meaning of don't follow the regulations cannot be explained well in this poem. So a new explanation was given, a unique explanation was given to this word in this poem, which means gossip, talk too much. So in this way, this sentence 无非无夷 was explained. Don't violate the rules. That is 无非 means, and 无夷 means don't gossip. For a girl, gossip is a big deal. So this is a compliment to this new born baby. Don't gossip. It sounds a little bit weird as still, but so far that's the explanation. I don't have any other good explanations for this. Okay, that's for today. A very long and narrative poem. It gave us a lot of details of the normal life of the noble family. Very likely the king of Zhou's family's normal life. Bye bye for now.